You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi, folks, and welcome to the final episode of the SM Media West of Scotland football show for season 2023-2024. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. I am delighted to welcome this week's special guest, Kevin Kelly, formerly of Caledonian Locomotives. Kev, it is a pleasure to talk to you about all things West of Scotland, and thank you very much for coming on, mate.
No, thanks a lot, Scott. Thanks for having us on. Looking forward to it.
It's a real pleasure. Obviously, we're just going to recap the season as a whole. Every league's been finalised. We know who's going up and who's going down, so we'll run through all 5 leagues. We obviously have to start, Kev, with the rather surprising news, obviously, that you're leaving Cali Locomotives. Obviously, doing a tremendous job there, overseeing a lot of transition. First of all, before I get into the kind of where and what's about what happened, how fondly do you look back in your time at the club and your role and what the club has become now?
Well, first and foremost, I really enjoyed it. We enjoyed it as a group. We enjoyed working together. People keep saying to me, "Oh, you've done a great job," but if you look at it, really, you're built on the foundations of the club. There's a good committee there. They're putting in a decent structure. That allowed me to bring in two excellent coaches who then, provide a platform to get the players and bring in what we had. And it was a great thing. It was an absolutely great thing. And I can only wish them well. Can only wish them well.
And was it always the intention during the season, or was it just kind of something that kind of came about? Because I know it gets to that kind of stage of the season where plans are put in place for the following campaign. Like, was it something that just kind of materialised, or was it in the pipeline for a while?
I think we were always open and honest with the committee. Aim didn't know the story. We effectively in June saved the club. We had the decision to make whether we stayed or whether the club folded, and we had to move on. So we fought to keep the club. We ran on rations, and when I mean rations, it was proper rations. Not one player at the club received a penny the whole year, coaching staff included. I think we bought 4 players. Our net spend was something between 13 to 1,500 quid, for the whole year, which was incredible. And to be able to provide a platform for these young players who, if you look back in it, all now have an option to play at a high level. Every one of them, without fail. Some of the people that we brought in, were maybe falling away for the game or, had just decided that we were going to take time out. But when we managed to get them to buy into what we were doing, they became very, very good. But we also had exceptional players already in a place. Players that went on to play senior football, have good opportunities at senior football, and if you look back in it at that sense, then our remit was to progress players, get as high up in the league as you can, due to the restrictions such as financial and everything else that went along with it. Then I would say it was a successful season. Absolutely.
I remember doing the predictions at the start of the season, and the 3 we had going up are the 3 that went up. I think we were unanimous in that. I think we all thought Ardross and Vale of Clyde would come up and do really well. Cumbernauld would kind of kick on as well, obviously, after coming down. And you look at the tightness of the league, and I obviously want to talk about kind of some of the results you had. I mean, 6-0 beating Cumbernauld at home. Like, there's a lot of good results in there. Taking Ardross and 5-4 in the second last game of the season. I mean, there's a lot of good performances in there, good results, like beating Kilsyth 2-0. Like, there's a lot you can take with a positive feel. What do you feel in terms of the season? Like, I know you like finishing outside promotion will be disappointing, but to finish there, I think it's a massive achievement considering, as you say, where you were 12 months ago. I think it's massive.
I think when you look at that, yeah, absolutely. Nobody predicted us to be where we were. Inside the doors, did we want to win the league? Absolutely, absolutely. We shot for the stars because that was the belief that we had. and the group of players and the way that they bought into us, the way that they bought into us, and it was that togetherness that got us to where we were. And listen, everybody has an off day, and when you've got so many young kids in the dressing room as well, you're going to get the inconsistencies and things. And it's no, that might sound like I'm picking the young kids out. Absolutely not. It's just that's the nature of the job, and that's probably why the committee done everything they could to try and keep us there. Mm-hmm. But we just felt that, regardless of our performances this year, some of which were excellent, even at the point we take Hurlford to the last two. We're 1-2-0 away to Hurlford with 3 minutes to go this year.
Yeah.
And complete capitulation. But again, that comes with experience. But they were very, very good days. That was a dark day, but there was some great times there. But we just felt it's time to move on, because we know what we want. We know what we want to do, and the conversations that we've had leading up to this week with clubs, it's there. But the players that got us to where we are the reason why we're here as well.
Yeah, and I want to kind of single a few out, obviously, that have been very, very important this season. Like Conor McAteer, I thought had a brilliant season. Like, I know when we were kind of doing the team of the season as well, I spoke to a lot of people in the league, and they were all of the same opinion that any team of the season had to involve Conor McLaughlin. So there's a lot of really good players on that side, and as you said, a lot of young players who you feel can go to a higher level. So you must take a lot of proudness as well at the sort of young players that are kicking on. Like Anton Finn's another one. Like, there's a lot of real talented players at that club.
Absolutely, and we knew that. We knew that when we got them in the door. It was just about getting them out, get it out of them. But that, to be honest, that was John and Saunders doing. John and Stephen. Like I said to you before, people keep saying to me, "Oh, you've done a great job." I would say we're a unique management team the way we do things. Like I say, we know what we want to do, and I kept saying to John and Saunders, I get the players in the door. It's up to you to keep them here, because the amount of coaching and the amount of learning that they put on for the players, and the way that they bought into it and excelled. Young kids like Tyler Wright, straight out of 20s, Aidan Falls, straight out of 20s, experienced players. Conor McLaughlin, but head and shoulders, best player in the league for me, head and shoulders. And you would never know it, because he just goes about his business. And the problem with Conor is that if he's less than an 8, then it shows, because he can be that good. He can be that good, where some players in the league will struggle to get to an 8. Conor is consistently there.
Yeah.
Conor McAteer that you mentioned will score goals for fun. He probably is a wee bit critical of himself at times. We're probably a wee bit critical of him at times as well, and their expectancy, but it's because we know what he can do. If Tyler, to be honest, if Tyler never get injured early in the season, he'd probably be on the same figures as him. No far away. But then you bring back Fraser Malcolm. For Clyde, and Fraser Malcolm gets you 12 goals in 3 and a bit months. And it took him games to get up to speed, but then he goes on this run and it helps. Anton Finn completely changed his whole way around football. His outlook in football. He came into pre-season. He probably would openly admit he wasn't in the best shape. I wish somebody had taken a photo of him the day that he started pre-season and the day that he finished the season, because a completely different man. But again, that just goes into what John and Saunders and I have been able to get out of these players, because to get them to buy into it was tough, especially when you've not got that carrot of being able to pay them. And for them to buy into it, it's a credit to every one of them, a credit to them all.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll obviously get your thoughts on the second division as a whole when we get there, and obviously we'll kind of look ahead to what's maybe next for you going forward. But we've obviously finished all 5 leagues. We'll start obviously with the Premier Division. It was 2 in a row for Bees. Brilliant achievement. Again, just real consistency. I thought kind of particularly towards the kind of middle part of the season where they just went on that run, Kevin, and I thought again, just the likes of I thought it'd be very difficult to replace Josh Fowler's goals. They bring in Kieran Diver, and he's been phenomenal. And Carlo's still doing it at a very, very good age. There's a lot of depth in that Bees squad. There's a lot of real talent. I look at Bees as a side obviously with a very, very good manager in Chris Strain, but there's such a good balance in the side. And I just think it's a massive achievement what they've done this season again.
I think it goes back to what I was saying to you earlier, Scott. That Chris has got there. He's got that really good balance of youthfulness and experience, but within that, he's got lots of dedication. He's got lots of dedication, and having somebody like Carlo being able to, instruct players around the pitch, maybe not as fluently as he would like to in his younger years, going about the pitch, but being able to talk to players and talk them through their game. But having somebody like Divers who puts the ball away for anywhere, and quite rightly so, gathered up all this interest for his performances. But for me, on the flip side of that, you have to be good at the other end. And I was really impressed with the boy Scott Ruff. I know Scott personally from when I first took over at Rossville, when they were Rossville, now Caledonian, obviously. I brought him in for pre-season, and I thought, you've got a real good chance. And he seems to have just kicked on 2 years later. He's picked up two league winners' medals, and again, interest in him, and quite rightly so. So to get it right at both ends of the pitch, it's hard, and Beef seem to have got that combination nicely.
They had to be consistent. They had to be solid. They had to rely on a lot of kind of tight victories, because they had a chasing pack that was very, very different in terms of how they started seasons as well. At the start of the season, Kevin, if you said Auchinleck were anywhere near second after 7-8 games, it would have been like horseshoe stuff. But again, it just leads to the phenomenal achievement of what Tucker does at the club. I think there'll be a lot of Talbot fans will be disappointed. I think that'll be. I think there'll be a lot of Talbot fans disappointed that they haven't won a trophy, but they will obviously look at this season and go from where we were at the start to finishing second and getting close. It was maybe just a couple of results at the end that they just maybe struggled with. To be where they are now, I think as well, you have to take your hat off to Tucker again.
What do you say about the guy? It's incredible. And you talk about, the players and the fans being disappointed. There'll be nobody more disappointed than Tucker. He's been a proven winner at this level for the last 15 years. At least. And for him, to win a trophy this year will hurt him more than anything. And I feel for him in that sense, because to have that consistency to get to where they finished after the start was excellent. We felt that we were on a decent run during Christmas and kind of November to January. What Auchinleck managed to achieve there was nothing short of remarkable, especially with some of the teams they're coming up against. You're not coming up against amateur players and then from there you're coming up against proven ex-professionals or boys that are really making their way in the game at full pelt, and absolutely fair play to them.
And then you've got a lot of sides as well. I think we could go through every team, and I think we do need to give a mentions to a few. I thought St Cadoc's this season as well under Martin were superb. Clydebank, I think, as well, very, very solid. Led the league for a long, long time. They just obviously had kind of ran out of games towards the end up. Largs under Arney finishing 5th. Massive achievement. There's a lot of real depth in this division. Pollock for being where they were. That there's a lot of sides who you feel can kick on again.
Aye, absolutely. I think, not just Auchinleck, but Beef bring that, they bring that a wee bit, don't they, now that I've had it 2 in a row, and you feel, I want to achieve that. And I don't think, if you look, knowing Gordon Moffat the way I do, there'll be nobody more enthusiastic about getting, his team to where he wants to be come next season. I know that Gordon will be really, really striving to go and win the league there. That's what every manager, but knowing Gordon the way I do, and and Arnie doing it Largs, a great achievement, especially again the constraints and in transition to what everybody else is. You look at what everybody else has got going on at the club and the monies that's getting flung about and everything else. But to get the maximum amount of players and to finish where they are, absolutely great for them.
Darvel obviously have got their cup final coming up. They're going to have a new management team. Obviously, One thing I want to do on the show before we go any further is just wish Mick and Jamie all the best at Darvel, obviously taking over from Ashfield. I think Mick and Jamie deserve an opportunity in the top flight, and I'm eager to see how they perform here. Darvel, obviously, there's been a lot of talk over the past couple of weeks. There's been social media posts as well. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. My worry with Darvel at the moment is that stuff behind the scenes going to harm them in getting players in?
First of all, fair play to Mick. You're absolutely right. Completely deserved. Completely deserved. To get Ashfield to where they were at one point. They were up there and maybe going to win the league. And to just miss out as they did. He completely deserved his chance. Absolutely. And I think when you look at it, whatever's been said and what's been wrote, in the media, it's obviously went down great. Maybe not been handled the best. But that's no Mick's fault, that's out with his control. Now, do I feel it might hamper the attraction? I don't, because if you look at what Mick was able to do in the sense of attracting players to Ashfield, then, and that's no disrespect to Ashfield, I just mean being able to attract players for whatever constraints that you're under to go and do that, then I think if he's got the opportunity, that will be a wee bit more, a wee bit looser budget in sense, I think he's got a chance to do a real good job there,
One side that I think could be very, very good next season are already very, very busy in terms of summer recruitment is Cumnock. Obviously, they've recruited Stephen Swift to take over as manager for Broomhill. Great appointment. Southie coming back to the league as well. They've been fairly busy with bringing in some players. I think Blair Curry for Stirling's an excellent bit of business. I think that is going to be one of the best signings in the West this summer, regardless. You've got likes of Josh Jack coming in. I can see Cumnock being a lot better next season, and I think they'll be looking to be a lot better.
Aye, I think Cumnock as a club will hopefully find a bit of consistency in the sense of, with management and with Swifty and Southie there, you bring a lot of experience at this level. You also bring a lot of experience in the sense of catalogue of players due to where they've been previously and where they're coming from. Come through the Lowland League and having that eye there every week to see, the gems that they might feel will come down. I don't want to say drop down because that sounds a bit, negative, but they come down to give ourselves the best opportunity for Cumnock to pick up some more silverware, because having that inconsistency with management, it can bring that downfall of here, there, and everywhere. Hopefully they'll both kick on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got likes of Hurlford, another solid season. Gartcairn, I think, will be disappointed, but I think they'll be on our side. They'll look to kick on. Benburb, I think, staying in the league was always important. They had a really good start and kind of finished really solid. Big mention I want to give to Dean Keenan at Troon as well. Obviously, announced a couple of weeks ago that he's moving on. He has been instrumental to that club. He's been a brilliant supporter of the show and the channel. I just want to wish Dean all the best and just want to commend him on the job he's done at Troon.
I just want to second that. I want to second that. Wherever Dean goes, he'll be a great acquisition because he's a good lad. Everybody talks well of him. He's gave a lot of time and effort to Troon over the years, and I'm sure that'll no change wherever he goes. And like I say, he'll be a great acquisition wherever he goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenafton obviously secured survival as well. Arthurley, disappointing to go down. They obviously will be looking to make amends for that in the cup final on Sunday. Wish them all the best. Rob Roy as well. Obviously, they come off a defeat in the cup final against East Kilbride. Just getting there, I think, was a massive achievement. And Irvine Meadow as well. They're already doing business. They brought back Mark McLennan. They've brought back another couple of players as well. Those sides like Arthurley, Rob Roy, Irvine Meadow, we're going to touch in the first division in a second. To get back into the Premier Division next season is going to be a massive ask for anybody. Those are three sides, though, that'll be desperate to get back in.
I think the desperation will come from the management teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at it, there'll be a realization kick in at some point with the fans and the supporters as to what they've achieved previously and also achieved this year in the sense of Arthurley, Colin as an OM, incredible job to get to the Scottish Cup final. The games that they've had to go through and I give them a real chance. I really do. I give them a real chance. They have this, never say die attitude. You look at the last few games before they were officially relegated as such. There's some big wins in there, and I know people say, players playing for cup final places and all that sort of stuff and semi-final places, but the leagues are bread and butter, and to get the sorts of results, people might say, a little too late. But I know that you had some real injuries. We had one on loan, one of our biggest players, Ansi, great lad around it, not just on the pitch, but in the dressing room. Somebody like that's missing off the pitch and in the dressing room for an extended period of time, it can affect you. It can affect the players. It can affect, the camaraderie around the place. So he's had a lot to contend with, but to get to the Scottish Cup final is a massive achievement. With the likes of Rob Roy, that'll come with experience, in the sense that they've been there before. They'll know what it takes. Goldie and Quinno and Danny, they'll no doubt be trying to put the jigsaw pieces together at the moment to already have an assault on next year.
Into the first division, obviously the league that was just wild in every aspect, and I think it'll be more of the same next season. But you've got three sides obviously that have went up that I think could be big players in the top flight next season. Drumchapel, Shotts and Johnson Borough, all three I think will progress and do very well next season. And again, it looks on paper that they've done it convincingly, but it's been anything but. And all three sides in different ways deserve a bunch of credit for what they've done.
Listen, I don't care what level of football you're playing, whether it's, Premier, Senior, Amateur. To win a league, it's no easy. No. To get promotion, it's no easy. It takes consistency. It takes a wee bit of luck, but to get yourself over the line, it's hard. It's hard, and that's why it's such a good feeling when you get there, because you've had to work your nuts off to get to where you are, and fair play to them all. Fair play to them all.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the teams that have missed out in promotion but have had good seasons. I think Joe at Rutherglen's done a very, very good job. Ashfield, there's a reason Mick's got the job he has, because he's worked wonders at Ashfield this season. Stephen at Petershill's done very well. Colwynnon, I think, will be disappointed, but I think they will be looking to get up next season again. I think they just need a bit of consistency. Blantyre, you can speak a lot about. Thornwood, St Roch's, I think the two sides were really good next season. There's a lot of sides I've mentioned in there who, again, you could probably say have had very, very good seasons, but they've kind of come up short. But it just shows you how tight this league is.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that you'd certainly look at when the points gap's no particularly big. I think at one point I looked at it towards the end of the season. I think there was actually only 15 points. If in the grand scheme of things, it's 5 wins, right? Yeah. Between like 9th and 1st. This could go anyway. But the biggest credit needs to go to John at Shotts.
Yeah.
Look at them they nearly got relegated last year. We were playing them last year with 2 games to go, and it was between us and them who was going to get relegated. And if you actually look at it, lots of players went out and completely reshuffled the pack, and 3. Danny Burns, of course, again, score goals, gets you to where you are. But if you're going to talk about management and somebody who, deserves a lot of credit needs to go to John. It really, really does, in my opinion.
100%. Obviously, kind of bottom of the table as well. Cambuslang, Whitlets and Neilston went down. Again, I think it was probably unsurprising just the kind of way the season went. I think they're kind of 3 big names. I think Whitlets in particular, I'm interested to see what they do next season. I know they've got a lot of plans. Like, it just shows that it's just been a struggle for them. And I think next season, the league will balance out from the first division, if that makes sense. Like, I think there'll be a lot of sides coming up, and I think we will see a bit of an even league in that division next season. And I think there are 3 sides that could do okay. They just need to obviously get it right with recruitment.
I think Whitlets will be big players next year. If you look at the league overall this year, there was only maybe 1 or 2 clubs added to that. In the sense of Thornywood, St Roch's, but both clubs, David and Ian managed to get a consistent level out their teams towards the end of the season. I thought Ian done a great job at St Roch's in the sense that towards the end of the year to get them to finish where they were, because they went on a great run as well. But if you looked at, they never, the three that went down, they never ever got away from where they finished. There was, and listen, I think, like I said, I think Whitlets will be big players next year, and that you've said it yourself that everybody hears that they've got big plans, and they've got a lot going on, and they want to achieve a lot. But again, it's all right saying that you need to get it right yourself. You need to get it right.
Into the second division, obviously, we'd mentioned earlier Ardross and Vale of Clyde, Cumbernauld. I think a lot of people thought they would be big players in the league. It certainly proved that. Ardross, I thought, were very, very good next season, and I think they're a side that can kick on again. Vale of Clyde have been good as well. Cumbernauld, very, very solid. And when you have three sides like that who've got a lot of attacking depth and get three really good coaches as well, the sky is the limit in this. Like they could go on and be very, very good next season again.
I think looking at it and what we came up against last year, they were deserved. They were absolutely deserved. They were the three best teams that we played against. Ardrossan was upset to get beat down there on the last day of the season. Absolutely, because we're 3-1 up down there. I felt we were cruising. I really did at 3-1. I felt we were cruising, and then again just a wee bit of lack of composure and that wee bit of experience to keep the ball out. But fair play to them. They again, a bit like what I was saying about Neilston and Cambuslang not coming away for their position. Ardrossan never fell away. Everybody expected them to hit that kind of sticky patch where they'd maybe lose 3 out of 7 or something like that. They never ever done it. They just had that consistent level of, and then it was between 4 for 2 places, and then it became between 3 for 2 places, and a couple of results killed us off, and Cumbernauld and with Dolsey and Vale of Clyde with John found that consistent level and got to where they finished, and quite rightly so.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really good, well coached sides that I think kind of finished quite well. Like, I know Kilsyth obviously changed manager, but I think they did really well to start. I think Carlo did really well to start with them. Larkhall under Brian, I thought, did really well. Can't rave enough about the job Mark Young's done at Maryhill, and similar Ross Cusick at Muirkirk. 4th finished really well. There's a lot of really good coaches in this league, and they've built some really, really solid sides, and I think that speaks volumes this season.
Aye, absolutely, and I think that added to the competitiveness of the league. That helped other teams push on as well, because they knew they had to up their game. In years gone by, you might have been going up against 1 or 2 of these sides and clubs where they went, right, okay, well, that's 3 points, but you weren't able to do that this year, in the sense that you felt that you were going to get it regardless. And they've built some real good sides. I thought, we get beaten the first day of the season against Maryhill at Maryhill, and I was impressed with them. And they lost Skinner. I understand that he's a big loss, but he caused us issues that day. And then, like you say, I was surprised with Carlo leaving, or however it was left at the club. There's been mixed stories, because again, they were never away. They were always there. I don't think they finished far behind us, and we were pushing. So I was surprised at that. I have a good close relationship with Ross at Muirkirk, and all things going well, I'm sure he'll build a very strong side. And fair play to him for getting players down to Muirkirk, because that can't be easy either. That can't be easy either with the carrots that are getting dangled to players now, to manage to get players down to Muirkirk, which is a really nice place to play. The surface is decent. It's a bit uneven, but you don't go there and the grass is long, and it's a horrible place to play. It's a decent enough place to play, but to get players down there, fair play them. And his side are young, Scott. They're a young side, so another year. They've had a good year under their belt. Another year plus, adding maybe 2 or 3 experienced players. They'll kick on well. But for me, this year, I think Bonington will be up there. I think Gordon does a good job. He came in late. I know that he was confined to a couple of things already when he went in. Speaking to him when we went down there. But I think they'll be real challengers this year. I really do.
Yeah, and obviously coming up as well, it was one of the very few kind of end of season things that was quite intriguing. Was obviously the race for promotion with Bellshill and Three. Obviously, Bellshill went up along with Les Mahago and Lanark, kind of runaway champions as well. That league was very, very good in terms of a lot of good sides in there. Lanark, I think, will kick on again. Les Mahago, I think, deserve their end of the season's been frightening. Like, they've been remarkable. And I thought Three would edge it, but a lot of credit has to go to Bellshill for what they've done. Like, there again, similar, but we've spoken about this a lot already. They're three sides again who you think just kick on.
I think for me, the manager sums up everything at Bellshill.
Yeah.
You know what? Knowing Dino as I do, I've known him since I was 15 or something. He was somebody who had that quality, leadership and dragged people through the trenches if he had to. Knew when to get people up for the game. And that was when he played. So, in the sense of that, I can only imagine what he's like in the dressing room as a manager. And I think on the other side of that as well, I think his acquisitions have been good. Getting somebody like Paul Tierney in when he did, with Tierney's, his history in the game, his experience, what he knows of the game. I thought that was a very, very good bit of business. We tried to get Paul in, and he chose to go to Bellshill, and it showed that he's still got it at the age he is. I know he's got a young family, he's got lots going on, but I thought it was a good acquisition getting Paul in.
Yeah, and again, good sides in there as well. Obviously, we have to give a mention to Dougie McDuff as well. Evan Vicks, he's been there for such a long time. He's done really well. Best wishes to him as well, going forward and what he decides to do. Bottom of the table, obviously, Sean kept Ardere up. Bailey kept Kilsyth up. A lot of credits to go to Girvan. Port Glasgow just came up short. I was really tight at the end of the season. And again, I think a lot of, like, Bailey in particular as well. Bailey and Sean, I think, have done really well this season with the job they've done just to keep them in the league.
I think when you look at it in a grander scale, what they've been able to do to their clubs to have that, even that competitive edge, to have that, drive of, we want to be here, we want to be, like I said to you about Muir Cup, but away to Girvan, I'm sure there's teams in the leagues think we're glad they're away, but to get players to go down there and to get players consistently be there for them, fair play to the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, we'll talk about 4th Division. Obviously, Glenvale and Thorn were very, very good. Got promotion, kind of very, very simple, but not simple, but I think they did very well all season. Lugar obviously got it in the last day. Beat sides like Rossvale and Gifflink, who had very good seasons as well. One thing that jumps out at me, starting with obviously the three that went up, obviously Lugar back into the 3rd Division. It's a big achievement for them. Glenvale and Thorn, like, they've got a lot of young players, young coaches, and you just think, again, they keep their players and they keep their core together, and their sides that can go as well.
Absolutely. I think they're two sides that will do well next year in that league. I think they're two sides. We played Glenvale twice in a friendly this year, and I was impressed with them. I know people say, friendlies, the teams play, players that aren't playing, or it's good to get teams game time and all that sort of stuff. But I was impressed with them. We let one of our centre halves, Mark McKendry, go to Glenvale, and he told me that he loves it down there. He loves it. He says that it's a great dressing room. The manager's a good guy, and he gets well looked after. And I think that's one of the things. If you're trying to achieve, then I'm sure that's one of the things that you need to get right, and clearly they have. I think on the other part of Thorn, they've got some very good players. Yeah. Young boy Ewan Roger that was at Thorn. I think he's an excellent talent. Who if he makes the right moves could have a good career in the game. Would have a good, I think a decent enough career in the game that people, if they were coming in the pub in 20 years' time, would say what a player he was.
Yeah.
I think that lad's got a lot in his locker.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of sides next season that I think can be very, very good. Eggleton, I think Eggleton, again, very, very good, I think, finishing sixth, but I think they've got the ability to go further. East Kilbride Thistle, I think bringing in John Dale is a big help for Aaron. Like BSC have been very, very good at the end of the season. Knightswood, I know there's a lot of ambition there. Easterhouse have been good as well. A lot of sides. Royal Albert, another one as well under Connor. There's a lot of sides in there you feel can progress.
I think that's the key. I think, see, as long as you're looking for progression, or and you're not willing to accept where you were last year, and I think I don't think there'll be anybody that doesn't want to be hired, but and knowing people like Azza at East Kilbride like I do, coming up against BSC, I was extremely surprised to no see BSC go up. We played them this year in the cup. They actually put us, and I was impressed with our front pairing. I was impressed with our front pairing. I thought they would score goals wherever they went. And somebody like Aaron, who's also had that wee bit of determination and grit, and that wee bit of nastiness in him as a player as well, just to go over the line. I think they'll progress well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, one thing we have to say as well, obviously, over the course of the season, so much competitive action, 5 really, really good leagues all season. It's been very, very good to cover. Kevin, I don't know where we'll be next season, but regarding yourself, do you see yourself staying in the West? What is the kind of thoughts for the following campaign? Have you thought about it, or is it just time for a well-earned rest?
No, I think holiday time's over. I think holiday time's over, and it's time to get back to work. We've had some good conversations, some positive conversations with clubs, but like I say, that it needs to be right for us all. It needs to be right for us all. There's things that we spoke about that haven't sat right one way or another. So that'll be why there's not been any announcements or no any decisions been made as such on either half. But myself, John, Saunders, Blackie, we're raring to go, and we just want to get back to it. So we'll have more conversations over the next week or so. Pre-season's not far away, 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah. it'd be good to get settled sooner rather than later, and then we'll get going into 2024, 25 and see what it can bring. Hopefully a bit of silverware wherever we may be,
Yeah, well, obviously, wherever you end up, Kev, I wish you all the very best, and thank you very much again for joining me and all your support this season, mate. It's been thoroughly appreciated. Thank you.
No, not at all. Listen, it's been great to watch. I've hardly missed one this year. I think the job that you're doing, covering the West has been great. I don't see any downfall to what you're doing at all. I think it's great. Being able to promote such competitions as where we are, and promote it on a higher scale would be excellent for you. So I hope you get there, Scott.
Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. And again, to everybody that's tuned in over the season, thank you very much to all the people who've watched on a regular basis. We get so many good responses. To all the managers, players that have been on as well, thank you very much. I don't know where we'll be this time next season. If we will be back. I'm hoping we are. But again, it obviously depends on what we can get going forward. So again, thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Best wishes to everyone as well this summer. Enjoy your summer, and hopefully we will be back next season. I hope we are. Thank you very much indeed.